certainly over the last couple of weeks, I've certainly seen an increase in people being more critical of the show and highlighting points that they were claiming that we'd said, which we didn't. And I think the hope is that nobody will check up what they say and take what they say as fact. Well, of course, anybody can click a button and listen to any of the shows and find out exactly what we say. And I think I speak for Roy as well when I say that I stand by everything that I say 100%. Otherwise, I wouldn't say it. With that in mind, though, I was speaking to Roy earlier on, and we've come up with an idea, or I certainly proposed an idea which Roy's kindly agreed to. In the coming weeks, I've decided I've asked to put my friendship with Roy aside, and I've known Roy for a very long time and had the pleasure of meeting him in person, but I'm going to put that to one side for a single show. Hopefully, it'll be hosted in a neutral area, and I'm going to interview Roy and put the questions to him that I've seen on the internet and around on the various forums, and I'm going to be posting a few articles about this, asking people to send me questions to ask Roy, and I'll get through as many of them as I can, hopefully in an independent way and quite a neutral way, and you'll be the judge of that when you listen to the interview. But I think it's very important because I've known Roy a long time, and I see a lot of these posts that are made, a lot of these claims that are made, and I think it'd be nice for people to have the opportunity to ask questions that they may have, and it'd be nice for Roy to have an opportunity to answer those questions as well, without all these middle people that tend to fudge the message or distort what people are saying, and then we can finally get it straight, what people's views are and what questions people have for Roy. So that's going to be coming up in a few weeks' time. I'm going to be posting various articles around it, and I would invite you, if you have any questions for Roy, please send them to me, or post them on the blog when the article comes up. And hopefully in a few weeks' time, I'll be ringing up Roy. We'll be recording, and I'll be thrusting all these questions, or as many as I can, onto Roy, and he's going to be quite happy to answer them and put his views across. So that's something to look forward to in the future. Roy, if you've got any closing words before we shut up the show for the day.
Just surprised with the ending. I wasn't too sure about the. I really appreciate that you do that. I had experiences in the past where I had to confront people who were making false claims about me. And what I should warn you about is you mentioned a person spreading libel about you, probably very deliberately and knowingly so, is if you engage with them, you only encourage them to carry on doing that. And the worst situation is when the source of the libel, the person who knowingly made stuff up, manufactured the lie, when they get repeated by other people, those people don't have the same liability as the person who spread the libel. And these rumors can spread and become truth in the mind of lots of people. And then you can't point a finger and accuse the person who spreads the lie if that person has actually heard about it from the source of the lie. The other thing they will use is repetition. So if they convince themselves that their lie is true, they will repeat it over and over again. And I had this done to me many times, and I can actually give a list of complete fabrications about me, which were repeated over and over again, knowingly by the same person, until people might think they're true. So things accusing me of DDoS attacks or all kinds of things, which never happened. So and it's really clear that the intention there is to paint the person as either a person who's unethical, a person who's dangerous. So you don't want to talk to dangerous people. So if they've accused you of having multiple accounts, or so they try to accuse you of doing something either illegal or of being a person who's a troll that people should not listen to. And that's just the sort of things even sites like Groklaw have to go through, and I think they have pretty detailed posts about their experiences. I have lots of people quoting me out of context in IRC, so they even take a complete joke and just quote the one line without, knowing very well it's a joke, but they think, that looks nice. If I put this in isolation, it might just look like it's serious. That's just, they can do these things. Sometimes they even give people the link, but people will not click the link to see the contact. So,
Well, I mean, I was right at the end of the last show. I did make a comment about some of these people would have their pens out. Even I was slightly taken aback, though, at the outrageousness of this slide that was posted. I didn't quite expect that. I thought maybe they would just twist a few words around that we'd said and put it out of context. But to make such a blatant false statement was quite a shock even to me. And I've had quite a few insults thrown at me over the years.
Yeah, and if they know if your name is not something like PJ or if you have a real unique name, they will try and really stick to your name, things that you have nothing to do with.
Well,
and that's a sort of we might call it a Google bombing campaign, or it's got all kinds of names and very catchy names for what they try and do. But it's to associate a person with certain actions. Google Suggest has just come under some fire because apparently some people are trying to associate a person with something he didn't do, with a crime. And one of the things you can do is to type things over and over again in a certain way. Then Google thinks that people actually search for something which is true, and then when people type the name down, it will try to complete it with an insult, like saying if you put something like Sarkozy and you say like is gay or something, it will suggest it to you. If lots of people put things like that, and then you leave lots of room for people to spread this information on the web if you do that. And some people, of course, will just kind of post things in like places like forums and post it as anonymous people and try to make false claims and then just give false links or give no links at all. But it gives more legitimacy if they try to. I've seen all kinds of tricks that they use to try and legitimize. If a person actually lands at the page, they'll try to give it some credibility to actually tell you yes you should trust this page. And lots of them really fail because I know one blog whose whole content, and actually the name of the blog, is an insult. So the whole blog is just like an insult bomb against lots of people. I mean, how many people would take that seriously if they know how to assess a website or a blog or something? So
it's it is a rather fascinating topic. I would hope certainly the articles I've written on the subject seem to get a lot of hits. So it is a very popular subject, and I have to actually thank this troll because it was after this post of his or hers, I can't assume it's a male, that gave me the idea to sort of set all these misrepresentations and misquotes to rest, certainly in respect of Roy and his opinion, and that's what gave me the idea for this interview for Roy. So it is doing some good, and it makes me very careful of how I type things, and makes me extra careful that I clarify what I say. So you can check out the whole saga when you see the article on my site. I won't be linking to the source of where it came from. You'll have to take my word that it was a legitimate troll that said it. And but hopefully you'll enjoy the interview when we do it in a few weeks' time. And if you've got any other feedback, we always love to hear from you. I get quite a few emails, and I'd love to respond to everybody. I do eventually, but it's getting the time. I've got quite a hectic schedule at the moment, so I do try to get back to as many people as possible. Thanks to Roy for sitting and talking to me for the last for hour, so we could get out a show tonight as well. So that's good. And like I say, thank you everybody for downloading the show and listening to us. And keep your suggestions, keep your feedback coming in, keep your criticism, which is probably more important, coming in, because it makes us more on our toes and makes us sharper for the next episode. So thank you all very much. And Roy, if you're happy, I'll close the show off here. I don't think we'll have a closing track for the essence of just for the sake of saving a bit of bandwidth.
Also, this is the first episode in which we experiment with the. Okay, I think you were actually going to say something about the fact that we try a new sample rate, and we also try a different format in the sense that we might try a. Well, actually two things. Okay, so the first thing is we downsample the recording itself, because the quality of the recordings we have when we do the chat is a lot lower than what we encode this in. So we basically oversample. We basically took a very high quality for the files that we save, when in fact the talk itself doesn't contain this much information. The entropy is very different. So we wasted a lot of bandwidth. We had files about 4 times the size that is necessary to maintain or to retain just about the same quality of sound. So we'll correct that, and future shows will be far smaller in terms of the file sizes. The second thing we thought about is the change in format. Is we thought if part of the show, for example, we have some video showing things like the sites that we talk about or distros we talk about, as we go along, we could do a sort of either a live show or a shortened video version of certain parts of the show. For example, if we talk